Hi, this is Mark, and welcome to episode 41 of Nerdology. And my very special guest today is Mr. Bob Fleming. Hello, Bob.
Hi, Mark. How are you doing? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Thank you very much for joining us.
No, it's my pleasure, man.
We're trying to complete the full set, so we already had Sucky on from Progtor Who and pretty good self, so it's only the other two to get on.
Yeah, well, Craig will be a struggle because he doesn't have to work anything that's technical. So
I might have to do a little driving trip up to Yorkshire.
Yeah, probably will with him. But yeah, I'm good. Are you all right?
Yeah, not bad. I'm taking a little bit of a break from the usual routine. In your honour, I have got a lovely cold glass of Brewdog Indie. It's very nice, pleasant. Yeah.
I like Brewdog stuff.
Yeah,
cool. I'm pleased to have turned you to alcohol before I even begin. Mark. That's great.
Well, I mean, for anyone who doesn't know, you're part of the team on Progtor Who, and you're partial to a drink or two. Is it fair to say?
I have to get through the episode with them lot. Jesus. Yeah, but no, yeah, we all have our little tipples, and sometimes it can get a bit leery, shall we say, especially towards the end of the podcast.
I think I'm right in remembering that during your stint on, you did like a little sideline of Game of Thrones reviews. You decided to get yourself a horn.
I got a drinking horn, yeah.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. It's got a strap that goes around your neck. It's just like there with a horn full of beer.
You got a strap-on horn.
It's got a strap-on horn full of beer. So you can just walk around so you got both hands free. And then you can just have a little gulp on it. It's great. But yeah, I've stopped using it because it seems to ruin me.
Well, it's quite entertaining listening back to it. I mean, I'm not entirely sure how the other guys on the podcast cope. But
I think they're used to it, to be honest, Mark. And I listen back to it and I'm like, oh my God, I don't even remember that. But it's there. It's out there.
Oh, I like it. Well, don't ever change, Bob. We like you just as you are.
Thank you very much, Mark.
While we got you here, I don't know, have you ever listened to, I used to do a show back in the day called the Blue Box Podcast with JR. I think he's been on your show, actually.
Yes.
Back in the day. And he's now changed over to his own podcast now. It's called Strangers in Space, and they do quite a big variety of different things. And one of the shows I love on that is Desert Planet Picks.
All right, okay.
It's basically him ripping off Desert Island
Discs. Yeah.
Rather well, I have to say. He's done some really good episodes.
Cool.
The most recent one I've heard was Matthew Jacobs, who is like the main guy behind the Doctor Who TV movie.
Yes. Yeah.
That was really entertaining.
Oh, that's good. I do listen to JR's podcast. I know Blue Box stopped, and he's obviously got this new one, Strangers in Space, and that. Yeah. But yeah, I've dipped in and out over the years. I remember you being on it. Yeah.
God, that's a long time ago then.
Yeah, you kept him in check.
Well, no, I don't think anyone could do that, really, frankly. Well, I thought, obviously I'm not going to do the whole lot because, obviously he's going to have you down as one of his main guests that he's going to want to invite on at some point.
You never know.
But I thought I would try and second guess what some of your selections would be on the Desert Planet Picks.
Right.
Now, I'm thinking for the food item, I know you are rather partial to a Parmo, aren't you?
Oh my word! But you can't get them around here. You can only get them in Middlesbrough or northeast of England, basically.
Now we do have quite a wide-ranging audience across the globe, so you might have to explain what a Parmo is and what is so special about it.
It's a difficult thing because you can only get them in Middlesbrough or that sort of area, northeast of England. If you go outside, you do get parmesans, but they're not right. It's got to be so. It's basically battered chicken with breadcrumbs, like a bechamel sauce and cheese on top, which sounds simple, doesn't it? But no one does them like they do in Middlesbrough. So you've got to have the right consistency, and you've got to have some awesome like triple cooked chips as well with it. No salad, no salad. But yeah, so a decent Borough Parmo or pizza. I like pizza a lot. I like good curry and burgers and pies.
Nice.
I'm not. As you can imagine, I'm not really into salad and stuff like that. Just my girlfriend. She tried to trick me, and she cooked me a vegetarian meal with that corn. Nice. Oh, I knew what it was straight away, but I was like, right, cool. And then I went to do a gig, like 2-hour gig. Halfway through, I felt like exhausted. I had to nip out and get myself a steak ginsters from Tesco Express before I collapsed. I don't know how they do it, bless them. But yeah, Yeah, it's just, but I'm a bit well into that kind of like parmo, pizza, pies, curry, burgers.
You're only allowed one option there, Bob.
We'll have to go for a Borough Parmo then.
Borough Parmo, right?
Yeah,
okay.
well guessed.
And I'm thinking for the classic series Who episode, it's got to be Revelation of the Daleks, because you guys all voted that the best episode of Doctor Who of all time.
That's why you should. I don't know. I don't know how it ended up being like the best ever. It's ridiculous.
Did you have the drinking horn on that night?
Oh well, that was pre-horn, but that was was definitely, we would have been drunk. And that's a weird one, Revelation, because I always sort of loved it. And it was when I watched it back to review. My mate Jimmy, he's a bit of a Doctor Who fan, but bass player from my band, and he watched it with me. And it's like, when you watch it with someone else who's not really a massive fan, it just showed it up for not being that good, really. So no, absolutely not. By the way, my favourite classic Doctor Who. It's a tricky one, that.
It's hard, isn't it? There's so many.
I always sort of say Seeds of Death or Seeds of Doom. Quite like them too. See, it sounds daft, but I think it's kind of like more with my heart. It'd probably be Seeds of Death, because I remember buying. It was one of the first videos that came out, and I remember buying it from W.H. Smith's in Darlington. And my mum was there, and she said, I was probably 5 or 6, and she was like, "I remember this," and she went, "You won't like it. It's black and white." And I was like, "Well, I want it," so I bought it and just watched it. I loved it. So with my heart, probably that one. With my head, it's probably. It'd be a Sylvester McCoy.
That's not coming as a big surprise to me.
Yeah, I know. Which Sylvester McCoy? Well, it would be Remembrance of the Daleks. That is just, for me, that is the best.
I mean, that is one of his best ones, isn't it?
I think it's just one of the best ones in general. So Remembrance of the Daleks, I'm going to go with as my classic.
Nice. And the final one, because I'm not going to, I don't want to spoil it for JR, because obviously he will be, sending the emails out to you at some imminent point. I'm going to suggest possibly a music choice. I would guess, I'm going to say, I think you'd probably go for some Madonna, because obviously you spent so much time with Craig that...
Granny in stockings. Love Madonna.
Yeah,
I'll definitely be looking. I'll be definitely looking at. I think my sort of favourite band ever is Free.
Okay. I was thinking it might be some kind of blues.
Well, they are kind of blue. Free, they're sort of blues rock, really. Big riffs and that. Yeah, I'd say probably Free are my sort of favourite band of all time. Okay. I think they're amazing, powerful, sort of 3-piece, but 4-piece, obviously with a singer. Just massive. Yeah, Free.
Oh, excellent.
Or Reef. Well, it's actually an anagram, isn't it? So, Reef, my favourite live band. I go and watch Reef every night. I think they're the best live band. Loads of fun.
Am I right in thinking they're from down this way?
Well, they're from
down the southwest.
South, that's where they're from. And they're just brilliant. Like, honestly, if you ever get a chance to see them, best live band I've ever seen. I
can imagine it's a proper good night out.
It's good. Like a few beers. It's anthems and just they're all cool guys. Like, and I've met them all a few times, and I'm a big got a signed snapback hat.
Oh, get you.
So I'm Reef. I'm gonna go Reef. Just full Reef. Excellent. Reef or Free anagrams.
Excellent. You could have had that as your drink as well, couldn't you, Reef?
I drank Reef at Reef once in Hull. Yeah.
Well, I feel like we've got to know you a bit better now, Bob.
Excellent.
So the reason we dragged you on the show, was I just wanted to talk about Doctor Who again, because I need to get my fix. And it seemed appropriate somehow that we should pick. I think this is, in my opinion, one of the best of the new series episodes. Bar none. And that is Vincent and the Doctor. Yeah,
it's a fabulous story. Brilliant. It's perfect for me. I think it genuinely is perfect.
Yeah. So it's written by Richard Curtis. It was from series 5, and I think it's episode 10. So fair way into the run of Matt Smith's first series. And I rewatched this for the podcast. When was it? Maybe a week or so ago.
Yeah.
How long ago is it since you watched it? Have you rewatched it?
I watched it today.
Okay.
Yeah, but we've done it on Progtor Who a little while ago.
Yeah, I thought you might have. It seems to ring a bell with me.
but it is. I've no sort of. I will go back and watch this at the drop of a hat. So when you suggested it, I was like, yeah, perfect. I'm gonna. That's great, and it's just it's better every time you watch it, I think.
Yeah, I mean, some great performances. I think the cast is really good. I think Tony Curran, what a brilliant choice.
You're convinced he's Van Gogh.
I mean, he has got that look about him, and I love the way they use that whole thing of the TARDIS circuit that sort of translates, and for some reason Dutch comes out sounding like Scottish and thinks that Karen Gillan's character is from Holland. His part of the Netherlands.
That's really clever though, isn't it? They sort of stuck that line in. Richard Curtis, like, that's a right coup getting him to write for the series as well. I think
they went back away, didn't they? Because Moffat was asked to write The Curse of Fatal Death for comic relief.
Yeah, that's right.
And of course, Richard Curtis was quite heavily involved in that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they worked together previous to that, but obviously that's the big Doctor Who thing I can think of, where they really came together. And obviously the roles have been reversed this time round, so it's Stephen Moffat in charge, and he's asked Richard Curtis to come in with an idea. I think because I did a little bit of reading up on it, and I think Richard Curtis, the real in for him that made him really want to do a story about Van Gogh was the whole thing about him not knowing just how good he was, and spending pretty much his entire life being told he was rubbish.
I know,
and what that must feel like. And he lists, I've seen an interview with him, and he lists off all these great writers and artists who throughout history have been revered within their lifetime, and they got to know, how much people thought of them, and this poor guy, especially with everything else he had going on, got nothing. So he felt like that could be.
It is beautiful at the end where they take him to the gallery, and it's every time I just cry. Every time, tears. Yeah, man, definitely. It's beautiful because, like, I mean, I associate with this. I think it's a fantastic episode of Doctor Who. It has lovely Doctor Who-ness about it, and Doctor Who elements, obviously. Yeah. Monster chasing around, running around, daft gadgets and all that. And it's great. But the underlying episode, and I think particularly for me, it's the mental health thing, and I think particularly because it's a creative person, Van Gogh, with mental health issues, basically. That's a massive thing for me, because I've suffered with mental health, depression and anxiety for years. And it's a weird one, particularly putting your goods out to the public, shall we say, and they don't like it. And you take it to heart. It's really weird, like, to explain it. So if I play in cover bands, right? I just want to be good. We're quite good, my cover bands. We do what we need to do. But if you write a song, the only way I can describe it, and it's Mark that said this, and I was like, yeah, it's like if you, basically like your kids, right? A song's like one of your kids.
Yeah. And
if your kid went out to sing a song or whatever, or was doing something, and people were talking over him, you'd be annoyed, wouldn't you? It's a similar thing. It's a ssimilar thing for when you're doing your songs. If it's someone else's kid, it doesn't matter. But if it's your kid, you want everyone to listen and whatever they're gonna, watch them, whatever they're doing.
Oh, you obviously invested a lot of.
Yeah, and you invested a lot of your heart and your soul into it. If people like talk over it or don't respect it or whatever, it's difficult.
You're bearing your soul, aren't you? You're just laying it all open, and you just want people to hear it and hopefully get something from it.
And enjoy it or get it or whatever. It's tough, and I think this is the creative brain. It's dangerous, particularly with all sort of artists or like I say, creative people. Like, how many bloody suicides have we had from loads of rock stars and that. Yeah. It's a weird one, man. And I think because you have to. I can never explain it, but you give so much of yourself to your art that it's kind of like
something's got to give somewhere.
Yeah, it's like Robert Johnson saying he sought the devil, at the crossroads and that to be able to play guitar and the blues really well. It's like you give, it's worth it, but it does something to you, and I can't explain it. But I would if I could sort of say, if you stop playing music mentally, you're going to be well. Nah. I'd rather be like I am and, keep playing.
It's part of who you are, though, as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it keeps me young, man. I'm 40 now, and if I want to play music, I'd probably...
No, you might just give up.
But it's...
Just do a Tom Baker and order your tombstone now, mate. I mean, jeez, 40.
I know, yeah, Jesus Christ. But, so it's like, it keeps me young. I love it.
Yeah, no, that's good.
And I can't get enough of it. Yeah, I'm knackered all the time, but...
I mean, obviously, listeners to Progtor Who will be aware that things are going to change for you not that far down the line. So I don't know how the rock and roll lifestyle is going to really fit into that.
It won't, having a little baby. But I can't wait. I'm ready for it now. Do you know what I mean? I've had 25 years of running around partying and rock starring and all that kind of nonsense. So it's time to grow up and have a beautiful little baby. So it's come at the right time, I think, for me, all that. Mm-hmm. But it's just that's my association with Vincent and the Doctor, which is why it's a very special episode of Doctor Who for me.
Yeah.
And I think the way Tony Curran plays it, it's just perfect. I get everything he says, everything he does, when he's down, when he's manic. It's all there, displaying mental health perfectly in creative people.
Yeah. I mean, with Richard Curtis, obviously he's got this kind of comedy background. I think he was very careful that he wanted humour to still be there, but he didn't want it at the expense of Van Gogh. And I think it treads that line really well. I mean, obviously going into that, and so something similar in the most recent series, something like Rosa, where you're dealing with something that is a very complex issue.
Yeah.
You don't want to really leave a bad taste in the audience's mouth if you totally mess it up, and I think they did a great job.
Oh, honestly, Mark, it's perfect. The way it is Doctor Who, but I think it's the first time for me, really, they've really had a mental health kind of episode. You know what I mean? Because they always try and associate something, be it the environment, capitalism, all that kind of stuff. But I think this is the first time they've really looked at mental health in a really serious and brilliant way. And it's great because you do laugh and you do cry, and it's like I say, it's one you can just. I personally can go back and watch this over and over. I think it's just beautiful. I think it's perfect Doctor Who, without a doubt.
There is an argument that the monster is not.
It's shit.
Well, I mean, I was trying to be kind, but yeah, it's a space chicken, isn't it?
Yeah, but what I do like about it is it's invisible, which makes it a bit more tense and scary. And it's good that you only sort of see it in his mirror, really. I know you see it a bit more as it goes on, but I like the way they've done that. Keeping
and of course, Vincent can see it. He's the only one who can see it,
and I
which
think
is
that's
obviously feeding into the whole. They all think he's nuts,
mad.
Yeah.
But it's the monsters. It's a cool monster, but it's CGI to do a massive space horse chicken, whatever it is. It's going to be a tough gig, that one. So.
No, I think it's, to me, the monster is secondary.
Yeah, it is irrelevant.
That is the key to just getting them back.
Yeah,
in the same place as Vincent, isn't it?
It doesn't matter. The monster doesn't matter, and it really doesn't. You think, oh yeah, it's not that great, but
I do feel a bit sad for it, to be honest, because at the end, it's. I think the Doctor right at the start says, "Oh, I know evil when I see it," or something along those lines, and it turns out it's just this blind creature who's scared and is lashing out, and they kill it. So, yeah, I feel a bit bad for it.
With a heavy heart, though, it's again, that's a clever thing. It's not just it's not evil. It's just. It is what it is. It's not intentionally evil. It's just lost and being left behind by its, its a fellow species or whatever. So
another thing I really liked about it was the attention to detail when they the sets and things like that. Amy is walking around with her Van Gogh sort of guide, and she looks up from the painting of the cafe. And it is absolutely perfectly rendered. They've done a really top job of
lighting, everything in it. It's proper everything. It just looks bang on. Because being an impressionist, it's not like I think the Doctor refers to impressionists. Why can't I do like all that stuff? It's just, but I think it's class, and I love it when he's just like, because he thinks he's terrible, doesn't he? Yeah. And he just like gets one of his massive awesome pieces of work that's painting white over it, and the Doctor's like, oh my God, what are you doing?
That was a good one.
And it's so nice, and I just think it that ending again. We know we talked about it, but it was just beautiful. Imagine that you're just like, everyone thinks you're mad, everyone hates you and all that, and then you go and in however many hundreds of years or whatever it is after, and thousands of people from around the world are coming to watch, to look at.
I don't know who chose that track by Athlete, but that was just like that's the emotionally, that's what kind of cracks me when they.
Oh man, honestly,
I was just the look on his face as well.
I was in bits today. I was like, thanks, Mark.
We haven't even mentioned Bill Nye's in it. Bill Bloomin' Nye.
It would be a terrific Doctor Who.
Wouldn't he just? Can you imagine?
I just think
they could afford him, really, could they? To be fair,
that's why it was only the beginning and end, probably. But his bow tie things and all that's cool. Thank you for the bow tie. And he starts going. He's like, the Doctor's like, come on, just give me my information. Then like, oh, you've got a very nice bow tie there. I love all that. It's cool, man.
To me, he's in that same sort of bracket as Tom Baker. He's got that amazing voice, and I could just listen to him read anything.
Yes,
and I would be absolutely transported. He's brilliant, such a great actor.
Yeah, without a doubt.
I mean, I loved it on first viewing.
Yeah,
but I wasn't really sure what my friends who weren't really Doctor Who fans would make of it, and everyone I met who talked about it was just absolutely raving about it. They absolutely loved it. And I think it went down quite well in sort of the critical reviews as well.
Everything. I don't know anyone. I think for me, if someone doesn't like this, I wouldn't trust them. Do you know what I mean? It's like people that don't like Only Fools and Horses, Mark. There's something wrong with them. I don't know what it is. You're going to do it, are you? You're going to do it?
Now, this is the bit where I have to come clean. I'm not a big fan of Only Fools and Horses.
It's fine. I'm just a bit of a joke.
It's okay. It's all right.
It's okay. Exactly. You don't hate it, though. You know what I mean? It's all right.
I can appreciate to a degree what it does, but it's not my cup of tea, but
That's fine. That's fine. Anyway, I've come back. I left the oven on, so no, I get it, man. I get it. But yeah, it's just a nice television episode,
and it's part of season 5 as well, and
which is brilliant.
In my mind, it's one of the better modern
100%.
series. Now, me and JR used to disagree about this all the time on the Blue Box podcast. He loves season 6 or series 6. That's his favourite.
Yeah,
and he's obviously coming at it because he's all about the writing, he's all about the structure. It needs the feel of a piece. And his argument was with series 5, which you can kind of see what he's saying is, it feels a bit disjointed. The tone shifts quite a lot from story to story. But to me, I love the fact that you have this massive mashup of genres and styles of story. And it really works for me. And I think Matt Smith hits the ground running.
Oh, that is the best first episode of a Doctor.
Yeah.
The 11th Hour. It's just... I love all Matt Smith. I think... Because people are a bit... Most people I meet, season 5 is the one.
Yeah.
But I love it all. I just think he is brilliant. Like, he's my favourite Doctor at new series, but he reeks of Chowton and the Coy, which is my go-to favourite Doctors. That kind of buffoon or, clown who suddenly turns around and goes, right, I know one.
Yeah, it's all a facade.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, if you watch something like Time of Angels, that's the first one. The first one he did,
and it is amazing.
Yeah.
That 2-part is just out of this world. It's class. I miss this. Like, I'm not a fan of the latest Doctor Who.
Oh, you're not?
No, I'm not. But, and it's weird for me.
You've never made that clear.
It's weird for me because I've never been through this before because I've loved pretty much all of New Who. And it's not, I just think, I love Chris Chibnall. And I've enjoyed his episode before, and I love Broadchurch.
He speaks very highly of you.
I bet he does. But as a writer, I appreciate he's very good. But it's gone a bit bland, and I truly believe I love Jodie Whittaker as a person, I do think she's a fabulous actress, but she's, for me personally, and obviously this is my opinion, not fact, she's been miscast, and I find that quite sad. I could see someone like that lady, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, is it, out of Fleabag, or Olivia Colman. You know, like a bit of a quirky, different, like Matt Smith is.
Yeah.
Quirky and different. You know, it's not the fact she's female at all. I was looking forward to it, really. And particularly with it being Jodie Whittaker, and the way she comes across, like, as a person herself.
Yeah. No, she
just
seems like a really nice person.
She's awesome. And I feel that's why I feel a bit like, I just feel she's been miscast. But that's just me. There's a lot of people that love it, you know, and that's good.
One crumb of comfort for you here, Bob, is back in my misspent youth, there was a period of Doctor Who where I found it quite embarrassing to watch, and it was I couldn't sit in the living room with the parents and watch it. I had to go off to the dining room and watch it on the TV in there, just because it's like, this is bad. And that was the Sylvester McCoy years, who I know is one of your favourites. But with the benefit of hindsight and the fact we've got all these great DVDs, and I imagine they'll probably be coming to the Blu-ray sets at some point.
I hope so.
You get a chance to reevaluate it with a new pair of eyes. So, you know, a good 10 years down the line, when your child is probably ready to be watching Doctor Who with their dad, you might actually look back on that and think, well, actually, I kind of, you know, I've changed my mind on it. You never know, Bob.
I think season 25 and 26. Sorry, series 25 and 26, because we're not American. Is for me, it's my like I'd say series 12, the first Tom Baker, and 25 and 26, and probably the final season of Troughton as well. They're my favourite series of Doctor Who. And I've always loved McCoy because he was my doctor as a young man. Yeah. And Craig was the same as you. He hated it. He was at university, so obviously he'd been about 18. And I think Mark was quite similar as well. He hated the season 25 and 26. Embarrassing and all that, you know. And then we've gone... I would
say, probably... Sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're all right.
When it got to season 26, I think that was a turning point for me. It started to get back to what I thought Doctor Who should be at that time. Or I'd have been 16. And... that hurt even more, the fact he got cancelled just when it was starting to get really good.
Yeah. Well, well, like I said, Craig went back and watched it. Mark's gone back and watched it. It was after I did that interview a while ago on Progtor Who with Andrew Cartmell, which was...
He's a lovely guy,
isn't he? My God, it was amazing. Because it's like, I just think for me, what he did with Doctor Who was amazing, considering the conditions that they were sort of held under. And... So after we did that, like, Craig's gone back and watched 25 and 26, and he just thinks, I don't know what I was thinking. It's amazing. Yeah. It's so clever and complex.
It's surprising how you can go back to something and initially you thought, I really don't like it. And then you'll start to, whether it's just the fact you've got a bit more life experience or...
I think it's definitely more orientated at older people. Season 25 and 26, because I think it's good when you, like, I think with Vincent and the Doctor, a similar thing as well. You go back with an extra, 2 or 3 years life experience, and you find more in things. And I think that's what 25 and 26 will do. Vincent and the Doctor will do things like that, you know. Whereas, like, Blink, for example, just because it's Mark's favourite, Progtor Who, and it's a lot of people's favourite. And I get that on first viewing, but you can't go back and watch it because you've had all the surprises. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing more in there to find. And I'm not knocking it. I'd give it 10 out of 10 the first time I saw that, without a doubt. And you go back and watch it.
There are some episodes like that. I think The Doctor's Wife is another one like that.
Yeah, but
I really like it.
I think you can... I know what you mean with that one, but I think there's enough in it to go back and watch it again. You know.
Or maybe I'll have to give that a revisit as well.
Yeah.
So we've reached the part in the show now where I'm going to ask Bob for a few of his recommendations for our listeners. But before we do that, we're going to go for a quick commercial break. We'll be back after these messages.
Do you like it?
Do I like it? I love it. Is it really a prime computer?
Do you know about them?
Know about them? I've seen them on Gallifrey in the constellation of Castorberus. Ha ha! At last, I'm up to date.
Would you like to be introduced?
It's terribly interactive.
Interactive? You mean immediate response?
Immediate.
Okay, Prime. How long's my scarf?
Well, it's not that impressive.
What? In 7 computer languages and 5 protocols?
Protocols?
Yes. That's how it talks to other computers.
It talks to other computers.
Well, of course it does. It's a prime. You're going to be all right, kid.
And welcome back. So, Bob, I think we'll go to you first. What would you like to recommend for our listeners? Can be anything, doesn't have to be Doctor Who related.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Could be music, movies, books, whatever you like.
I'm going to start with a book. And yes, listeners, I do actually read. I can actually read. There's a book.
Why would we assume you don't read?
I think the lads on Progtor Who would assume that. A book called Sapiens, which basically charts the different evolutions of the human race, and it's fascinating. So it starts like basically with there was different Neanderthals or whatever, like different sets of Neanderthals, whatever it is, and it sort of works on the premise of this and the reason why the human race has kind of taken over the planet, if you like. So it's saying that most groups of animals, they stay in maybe numbers of 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. They don't grow much more than that. Do you know what I mean? It's like a community or a small community or small family. Yeah. And what happened with Homo sapiens, or us, if you like, they kind of destroyed the rest of the Neanderthals race, throughout the world. It's the concept of gossip. So for example, if there's a lie in there, it's either there or it isn't. That's black and white, isn't it?
Yeah.
And by gossip, I mean like religion. This kind, just making stuff up to grow a community. So obviously, religion's massive, isn't it? And that's how they got into trading and went overseas and spread words of gossip. So basically, the human race is based on gossip, and it is, if you think about it. Like, you just make stuff up, don't you?
Yeah.
You say something, and like, yeah, that's right. I'm going to start a business called Google. Cool, right? It's going to do all this and all that. You know what I mean? And it's made up, and people then believe in it or buy into it. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And the same applies to politics and all that kind of stuff. When I read this book, like, it just blew me mind. Because it basically just says everything is bollocks, unless it's there or not.
Bob, I don't know if you watched the news lately, but
oh god,
in the UK and America. Yeah, I think the book was a little bit ahead of its time there in its predictions.
It's
it's worrying, isn't it? Really,
so the book charts everything, from the agricultural revolution and industrial revolution, etc. Humans are horrible, and they've destroyed the planet, and all that kind of stuff, and it's scary, and it goes into what it predicts for the future as well. Which is what we're entering into in this just scary and awful world. But remember, people, it's all just made up. It's all bollocks. It doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? It's like we make up laws. We make up money. Money's not real. It's just we've made it. There it is. It doesn't make any sense. Hence, Star Trek is the perfect utopia, because there's no, everyone's accepting. It's a federation of planets. Not just Earth. Earth's Earth, and it's a federation of planets and people working together for the better of the human race and life. Just being nice to each other. No money, no bollocks. It's all awesome.
I mean, just to play devil's advocate here, young Bob. The Prime Directive, they seem to ignore that quite a lot, don't they?
In Star Trek.
I mean, otherwise it'd be quite a dull programme, I suppose.
It'd be very dull, yeah. Hello, how are you? I'm very well, thank you. Yes, good. What we're doing today, I'm just going to go and be nice to everyone. Brilliant.
See, that would be a utopia.
It would be. But do you know what I mean?
It wouldn't make a very good entertaining TV show.
I mean, Star Trek is like my... Doctor Who and Star Trek are my two sort of things. My two main things. Yeah. So I recommend Star Trek to anyone who's not seen it. Not the original series, though. Jesus, that's hard work.
Oh. All right, okay.
I believe. It's about 70 odd episodes. There's probably about 30 that are actually quite good. The rest are hard work. For me personally, but I just love everything else at Star Trek.
There is definitely the nostalgia for me for the original series, just because it used to be on as a kid growing up in the sort of tail end of the 70s and the 80s. Yeah. It was constantly on BBC Two, so it was just part of the...
I get it, because obviously I go back and watch Doctor Who, classic Doctor Who, which is probably similar for a lot of people. If you had to go back and... If you just started watching Doctor Who, the new series, and you went back and watched some classics, you'd be like, what? This is hard work, but because I've grown up with it, I'm kind of used to it. But I can, Star Trek for me I think is incredible and interesting and awesome, as is Doctor Who. But they're both two separate things, which is great, because you've got this daft quirky goes all over time and space, and it's all a bit mental, and then you've got like more of a science and that kind of thing in Star Trek. I think they're both just brilliant though, and both have a brilliant example of how to live your life. Yeah. Be nice to people.
There's a novel idea.
Don't be a dickhead.
Yeah, that should be the insignia, shouldn't it, on their shirts?
Exactly.
Don't be a dickhead.
Yeah, well, that's how it should be though. Like people, just give everyone at face value, and then like if they're a dickhead, they're a dickhead. I don't care what colour you are, sex you are, whatever. A dickhead's a dickhead, isn't it? So
yeah. Just treat people the way you want them to treat you.
Exactly, and that's how it should. That's how you should live. And if everyone lived like that, it'd be lovely, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well, we can dream.
I know, yeah. But yeah, so Sapiens.
Okay.
It's a fascinating book. I really recommend it. It's quite a big book, but it's the way it's, because I think a lot of it sounds like an obvious thing to say, but it's well written, to make it understandable. It's not like convoluted all over the place. It's just a good read, fascinating. You're like, oh God, I never thought of that. Yeah. It blew my mind.
Accessible then. It's not,
completely accessible.
You don't have to have a PhD.
No, not at all. But yeah, Sapiens would be a book I'd recommend everyone.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to recommend a couple of things. I would imagine probably by the time this goes out, most people who are really desperate to see it might have seen it already anyway, but I was going to suggest Black Mirror. I don't know if that's something you watch very much, Bob?
I hate it.
Oh, no.
I'm not... The odd episode in the early series I quite like White Rabbit and that. I just think it's condescending bullshit. I'll be honest with you. I just think it is... It's The Guardian for me. It's just like trying to be clever for the sake of it.
Well, Charlie Brooker did write for The Guardian for a while, didn't he?
Yeah, it makes sense. So, it just pisses me off. I can't. It's not for me.
Did you used to watch any of his like Newswipe and?
Yeah. No, I like Charlie Brooker. I like Charlie Brooker. I think he's funny, and I get that it's. For me, I just think it's trying to be clever, and it's not that clever. And I get. I'm not stupid. I get it, but it's just not for me. I just think it's trying to just being a clever cock for trying to be a clever cock's sake. I can't watch when it got Americanized and all that. Because like I say, there's one or two which I think are brilliant, and I quite like the one where it was interactive. What was that one called?
Oh yeah, Bandersnatch.
But yeah, I like the Star Trek one. So I do like. Yeah. But I think that's a good thing about it. It's so different every week. Yeah. Or every episode. Yeah. That I do really like one or two. Maybe a handful of them. Yeah. But some I just think, God, this is just... Ugh.
It is variable, I would admit. It's variable. I don't know if... I take it you haven't seen any of the new ones then?
No, I'm not bothered. Is it worth it?
Okay.
Is there any good ones that you think are
Again, it's variable. There's 3 episodes that have come out. And for me, the pick of them was... they've done one with Miley Cyrus.
Oh, right.
Who's not someone who's, I've not bought her albums or anything like that, but it really spoke to me. I thought it was a really good episode. I won't go into the details too much because otherwise it might spoil it for people. But that was the pick for me.
Right.
But yeah, going back to some of the older ones, I think the very first episode, I don't know if you've seen that one.
Piggate.
Oh my God.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Like that was... And that's what I mean. Like, I love that one. I love White Rabbit, and I love there's certain ones I do love, and I particularly love the first couple of seasons. Yeah, or series when they're
because Jodie Whittaker's in an early one, isn't she?
Yeah.
They have a thing where you can record your memories.
Yeah,
and can get a bit tricky if you're not being a faithful partner to your other half.
Yeah. And that's the one. That's the one that turned me off. That was one of the ones
really?
that turned me off. I was like, oh my god, a lot of people socialising and like middle class wankers. I didn't, and that's what put me off. Like that was what put me off. Like, cause then White Rabbit came on, and I keep going back to that one. That's my favourite one. I think it's brilliant.
Well, I'm hoping my other recommendation might possibly be something you'll approve of.
Oh.
If not, then it's going to be 2 for 2. I've just recently finished, because my attention span is so terrible. I don't really read that much these days, but I do listen to audiobooks because I find that quite good, sort of walking to and from work and what have you. And I've just finished. It's called Unknown Pleasures Inside Joy Division, and it's written by Peter Hook.
Ah, that would be cool.
Who's from the Bass Players Union?
Yes,
you being a bass player yourself.
I know. Peter Hook's the only person, apart from the guy out of Spandau Ballet. My first bass, this is boring, and for guitar players, my first bass was a Shergold bass, which was a stupid British bass that went bust and all that.
Yeah.
And the only people that I know that played one was Peter Hook and is it Gary Kemp or who played Martin Kemp, the bass player from Spandau Ballet. Yeah, that'd be a good one.
It's really good. He goes into a lot of detail. I mean, he's got set lists covered left, right, and centre. If you're a big Joy Division fan, then he doesn't really leave that much out of it. And obviously, things have gone a bit bitter because he's fallen out with the guys in New Order.
Yeah.
So that does sort of colour it slightly, but no, it's really fascinating. You tend to, I don't know have you seen, there were a couple of films out over the last sort of 10 years or so that sort of focused on, there was 24-Hour Party People, which is all about factory records. Tony Wilson and what have you. And there was another one called Control.
Not seen that one.
It's directed by Anton Corbijn, who did a lot of the photography for Joy Division. And that was like a biopic of Ian Curtis, the singer.
Right.
And so it gives you a little bit of a taste of both of those, really, but through his eyes. Obviously, everyone's memories of incidents and things are going to be different, and he's obviously telling his side of the story. But there's some great stories in there. Some really, you hear about gigs where it all suddenly kicks off and he's having to go out into the back out onto the stage to try and pull his mate back up, who's got like 20 people all descending on him trying to beat the living daylights out of him. And the whole thing with Ian Curtis and how he was gradually getting more and more ill, and just the process of forming the band and all that kind of stuff. And I used to drive the van for all their gigs when they first got started, before they went pro. Yeah. Before they actually started getting paid. So it kind of felt a little bit like you had the band and then there was Peter Hook and the roadies, and they kind of
did everything else.
Kept a bit separate, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a really good...
What's it called then, that, Mark?
It's called Unknown Pleasures, which is the name of their first album. And Inside Joy Division. It's really good. I got it through Audible, but I think you can get it on CD as well through all your usual places. I'd definitely recommend that.
I've got two quick recommends before we go.
Go on then.
One's by a guy called Guy Pratt, and it's a book.
Yes, Guy Pratt. Yeah, I've seen him play live, my friend.
Have you? With Pink Floyd or?
Yeah.
Or Dave Gilmour?
Oh,
wicked.
Pink Floyd.
Oh, what?
Yeah, Division Bell tour at Earl's Court.
Oh my God. Was that amazing?
Yeah, just a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. But he's done a stand-up show of it as well. So he goes around theatres, and I've been to it, and it's hilarious. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
He's ace-like, and it's just basically, like he says at the beginning, this is not an autobiography, it's just like funny stories. You know, it's not going to be about, grew up and all this kind of stuff. It's just like funny stories about people that he's worked with. And he's worked with everyone, like so Pink Floyd, Dave Gilmour, The Who, everyone who's anyone. He's Michael Jackson. He's played bass on them, and he's a terrific bass player, but he's just a brilliant guy. And the book's hilarious. But so get the book, have a read that, and if he's doing his stand-up show, go and watch that, because it's brilliant. He's just so funny. And he's a top bass player, and he's like, if I could be anyone, or have anyone's life, it's him. He's a session bass player. Just I'm off to Germany and Austria next week. It's going to be cool, but
nice.
It's just I'm going to wear a kilt. But with a band, but
there's an image.
It's not Pink Floyd. Do you know what I mean? So there you go. My second one is just don't be a dickhead. Be nice to people. That's what I recommend.
Well, you can't finish on a better wish than that, can you?
Absolutely.
Bob, thank you so much for coming on.
No, it's been awesome,
It's been a real pleasure having you along.
No, it's been cool.
Would you like to give a little plug to your various things that you're up to at the moment before you go?
Well, there's obviously Progtor Who, Doctor Who podcast where we play music and that with me, a guy called Mark and Craig and Suki. That's worth a listen if you just put in Progtor Who.
It certainly is.
Yeah, it can be quite eclectic and interesting some weeks. That's our sort of thing. There's other bits that go on there as well that we do offshoot podcasts and that.
Yeah.
It mainly to do with Suki. He's like bloody Anton Deck. He's everywhere. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, no, that's one of my things. And then that's it really. I'm in loads of bands and that, whatever. You know, I've got nothing to sell on them. And, I just love playing music and whatever. But yeah, my main sort of thing, if you want to listen to it, is Progtor Who, podcast-wise.
Excellent. So get on your Googles, type in Progtor Who, and you'll find them very easily.
Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thanks, Bob.
Yeah, no, cheers, Matt. Top man.